Everyone dreams of living an uncommon life, and the best asset you have to achieve your dreams is you. Welcome to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living uncommonly. We're also going to give you some tools and strategies for building wealth and for pursuing an uncommon path that is uniquely right for you.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Uncommon Wealth Podcast, where I'm your host, Phillip Ramsey. Today we have the one and only Terri Hoffman, the owner of Market Refresh. She's a grandmother. She's a business owner. She does it all. I can't wait to unpack your uncommon life, all of the ways that you brought yourself to where you're at now, all the people that kind of helped you get there. But welcome to the show, Terri. I'm super excited to unpack this. How are you?
Me too. Thank you. I'm really excited too. Should be fun.
First question. When I say uncommon wealth, how does that, where do you resonate with that? Where do you not? Give me the definition of how you would say what uncommon wealth is. And then how is your life kind of defined in that uncommon wealth space? Let's start there.
I guess for me, when I hear that term, I think of someone or people who have maybe come to a place of feeling whatever wealth is to them, but it didn't happen in a traditional way. Yeah.
Preach it.
But I mean, we could go down a whole other road about what wealth is. And that's, I think that can be defined so many different ways.
Totally. Okay. So let's go there. How would you define wealth in your life, Terri? Let's go. I mean, you're just putting softballs up. Yeah. Let's hit it out of the park.
I know. See, this interview was meant to happen. So I don't define wealth by money at all. So I think wealth is a reflection of your values, and my values are around relationships. And the main relationships for me is number one, a relationship with God. Number two, a relationship with my husband. And then my kids. And now I have one grandson, another one on the way. And the rest of my family, like my parents, my siblings, my nieces and nephews, and then my friends who kind of fit into that category too. So when those, my favorite movie of all time is It's a Wonderful Life. We watch that every year at Christmas, and I still cry at the end at the scene. Cause to me that, when he reads that quote, no, I forget it now. It's no man is poor who has a lot of friends, basically.
Right.
And it's to me, that's if you have a lot of love in your life, that you're never going to be poor. You're always going to be wealthy. And to me, that's what wealth is.
Yeah.
For me, that's what wealth is.
Let's go. Could there be a better start to a podcast than that? Oh my goodness. If we had sound effects, the crowd would have gone nuts. They would have been super excited.
Well, right. But a lot of people think that I sound very naive, and I've had a lot of people sort of dismiss that, but I know who I am, and that those things are what I value. And that's what's the most important to me. So it sounds kind of silly though. To some people.
No, yeah, right. And that's why you're on the show, Uncommon Wealth Partners, because at the end of the day, wealth can be however you define it. Or another way is define your success. Well, you ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers, but it's going to be reflective on their core values and what they should be reflected on their core values. And I feel like there's a lot of people, especially in this culture, are chasing after to try to make as much money as they possibly can. And that's kind of what they're chasing after. And it's so fleeting. So I think you like this quote that I just heard. Okay. It's the difference between a rich person and a poor person is the poor person feels at least there's hope that money will solve their problems. The rich person knows it ain't going to do it. Does that make sense? So money isn't going to sustain you. It's not going to be fulfilling. And yet there's so many people well, if I can just get enough money, I'm going to be this, or I'll start giving more when I start making more. And all these things are wow, that is such a different definition of wealth than I see. And I'm right up your camp, relationships. I feel like I'm the wealthiest person in the world, not because of my bank account, but because of the relationships I have. And so I feel like you're kindred spirits that way. So this is great. This is going
Absolutely.
well.
No, I totally agree with you. And I think what can be easily overlooked is when you have this set of values, it's oh, then I guess you don't care about having money or making money or that component of your life. And that's also not true.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's a tool in order to unlock the things that we think are most important, which are relationships.
Yes, very much so.
Give me kind of.
We have the note taker got so excited. It was like, you know what?
It was like, we got to get into
joining.
this. We got to get into this thing. All right, we're going to remove my note taker because we don't need that. All right, good. Gosh, I almost thought for a second I was going to remove you. Like, oh, that's not what we don't want. Okay. Here's my question. So at least the listeners, so you and I had a time to talk before this. Sometimes when I do this, I kind of skip some key things that like you and I talked about last time. So I'm going to try to bring our listeners up to speed. So give me kind of like your elevator speech on market refresh. And then we're going to go through like, how in the world did you get to this point today? Like, just give us the backstory, but let's get us the 30-second pitch on market refreshing, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So, Marketing Refresh is a strategy firm. And so our job is to listen to our clients, outline their business goals, and then we support their business goals with marketing. And so that sounds, maybe a little bit generic, but that can look like things like, wow, your website is very out of date. You don't really have a message that is connecting with your target audience. And you might have 4 or 5 different types of people that you need to connect with. And they might all need to hear from you a little bit differently. And the wording might need to be different. So we help people come up with that overarching message and then how that message gets out to the market. That could be through a website, social media, ads. There's a whole plethora of things that they can draw on from then. And even just simple things like budgeting, like if these are our business goals, how much should we budget for marketing? How do you arrive at that number? How do I then spread that across different channels? And then how can we help a business create a system for how this marketing happens? And that's more than just, what software platform are they using for a CRM or, that could also include like, how are they resourcing it by using us, by hiring people who are part of their full-time team? It's just really helping them figure out that system.
That's good. So marketing refresh, how did you come up with that? Like, you don't just wake up at college and be like, I'm going to do this. Like, there seems like there's an experience that has happened to get you to where you're at to be like, I'm going to open up my own business. Thank you very much.
I did. So I had several years in the marketing field first. And that might have been, I'm guessing now, but I might have done that for like 15 or so years before I started a marketing firm. And I worked in a whole variety of different marketing roles on the corporate side. But actually the way that I started my career is even more exciting than that. I played college basketball and I always wanted to work for an NBA team. That was kind of my dream. The WNBA didn't even exist yet. Yeah. No. So I got a job with the Houston Rockets, and it was when Hakeem Olajuwon was like the star of the team.
Let's go. Yeah. Remember that.
They had just won a championship and I walked in and they sort of laughed like, that's hilarious that you think you could get a job here. We just won a championship. Everyone wants to work here. But my timing was good and I got in, and I was there when they won a second championship. And then I got to be part of the business team that started the WNBA franchise there that actually no longer exists now. It was the Houston Comets. So that was really fun. They actually won 3 championships in a row. And then our owner decided to start an arena football team, and it just started to get kind of nuts for my schedule. I also started a family at that point. And it just got to be a little bit too much to manage, with all those different sports schedules with kids and everything. So I moved on from there, but, so I got to fulfill that part of my dream, worked in different marketing roles. And then in 2008, a large part of the economy went through a downturn, and the company I was working for lost its funding. I started looking for a job, and I just started doing freelance work with different connections I had. And pretty soon, like a year into doing that, I was like, I think I have a company. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Right. And so that was my realization was, wow, there are a lot of different small to mid-sized companies that really don't have someone who can help create a strategy, figure out what the system should look like, and then help get that off the ground for them so that they can actually use marketing as a tool, as an investment instead of an expense or something they just do every now and then.
Right. I'm going to ask you this because I want to start going into your family here in a second. But before we go there, how did you choose your pricing when you first started Marketing Refresh?
I had no idea what I was doing.
It's a common theme, actually.
Yeah. And that's really making me think. So I guess one thing I didn't say, this is our 17th year in business. And so when you ask me to think back to that, I'm like, that feels like a different lifetime. I'm pretty sure. So my first contract was with a really close colleague and someone who became a friend of mine. And I literally asked her, what should I be charging you? And that's how I started.
I love it.
And then I started to build a community of other marketers and made sure that I was meeting other business owners from the marketing field. And I started to ask them, like, what do you charge? And then eventually, as I got further into the business, I joined different marketing groups and business owner groups that really helped me create more of a pricing strategy that made sense. But I mean, to start, I just guessed. I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh, it's so good. Okay. So you said you started a family. Seems like really horrible timing as you start a business and you start a family. How do you meld those together and kind of walk me through that? That seems uncommon.
Yeah. So I know. Well, you're going to see as my story unfolds that I'm really good at jumping out of an airplane with no parachute. But I've gotten smarter about that. So when I first started my career, I had kids pretty young. I had kids when I was 24 and 27.
Okay.
And then my first marriage did not work out. We ended up getting divorced. And when I was single, I started my business. So what smarter thing to do than start a business when you're a single mom with two kids?
Not stressful at all. Like, we can do this. Hang on.
Exactly. And then I think in the first year of maybe the first couple of years of the business, I met my current husband and we got married. And I don't think he had any idea what he was in for, marrying a business owner. So poor Ralph. But, it was really tough, but even if you're not in all those circumstances, starting a business is very difficult. It's an uphill battle.
On top of that, Ralph, you said, is your husband's name?
Yes.
Did Ralph have any children?
Yeah, he has one daughter. And so, our family together is 3 daughters.
Yeah. Okay. So starting a business, trying to pour into a new marriage, and then, evenly yoke, 2 families together. Like, that sounds like, diffusing a bomb. You did it. You're still here. Let's go.
I know we just did a lot of things so actually this is kind of funny. And I find this funny, but about a month after we got married and moved our families together, my husband, we were neighbors. And so he owned a house a few blocks away, and he said, boy, we should have kept my house. And I'm like, I kind of agree with you.
I love you, but I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, maybe I would be there right now. But,
man. Okay. So going back to that moment, what do you think the biggest thing that God was trying to teach you in that?
Well, it took a lot of attempts, but I think what he was trying to teach me was better listening. And better understanding of things that are important in a partnership as opposed to doing things on your own in running a household. And we had both been running our own households for a number of years. And I think my husband is really good at being married and being a spouse. He was in a successful marriage before he married me. And so it was like something I had to learn, and I wasn't good at listening and understanding where he was coming from. I was so used to doing everything on my own. And it took me a long time to learn that from God. Yeah, I'm still learning it.
Ralph's a patient man.
Ralph's very patient. Yes. Yes, he is.
So for our listeners, Ralph's previous wife passed away. So that's why he was in a successful relationship and marriage. So that's just to catch up to speed. Like, wait, my spidey senses.
That's a good detail.
I'm there for you, Terri. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. All
right. So we talked about pricing. We talked about kind of melding a family together. At what point in your business, Marketing Refresh, did you feel like, okay, the plane has left the runway and we're up in the air? Like, I always describe like business owners, especially when you start out, is you're going down the runway and you kind of want to know like, how long is your runway, which is how much does my cash take me before we have to get this thing off the runway? At what point did you feel like not only is this business working, but I feel like we have got, smooth sailing ahead? Or do you still feel like there's turbulence sometimes? Talk through that.
All of those things. I think it goes through cycles. Yeah. I mean, I think as soon as you think you have it figured out, that's exactly when you don't.
Yeah.
There's so many outside influences to owning a business, right? So I would say there's been a couple of inflection points in 17 years, though. There's the first year is fun and exciting and exhilarating. And then the second through kind of fourth and fifth years, you're like, oh my gosh, now I have people counting on me, right?
Yeah, hold your breath. Yep.
Yeah. And then I think once I got over that hurdle, I felt a lot more confident. Like, okay, we have a base of clients. I have a team trained. We can do this. And I think that's a lot of times when you think, oh, I can scale now, right? And I didn't have a good plan for how I would scale. I tried to do it without a good plan and a good structure and an operational plan, most importantly. And so that didn't work. Like, it didn't work very well, but we survived it. And then about 4 years ago, we had another opportunity to scale, and I went through the EOS system and we implemented that. And that was a huge eye opener. I actually kind of joke with friends of mine who have gone through that traction implementation. I'm like, no one told you that you have to grow up.
This is going to suck. Yeah,
exactly.
They're going to get your big boy pants on real quick. Yeah.
You got to face up to a lot of your own personal weaknesses as a business owner and blind spots. And you have to be willing to be transparent and open about them, and actually build a team who can complement you. And you just have to have a lot of humility, I think, to go through that process. It takes a lot, but we did that. And I think that, that really gave me confidence that we could scale again. The economy has been really tough the last year and a half. Marketing businesses and AI has been very tough. So I think some of our possibilities are, I would say, uncertain, right? But we're ready once things become a little bit more certain in the market.
Yeah, it's funny. I have, so my employee came, he's like, listen, I just read the top 5 different industries that AI is going to take away. And financial services is right there. And I was like, I love it. And he's like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, I don't think you understood. Let me rephrase. And I was like, yeah, no, I love it. I was like, something that AI will never take away is relationships. I was like, so if we can utilize AI to then help us have better relationships, why wouldn't we love this and adopt it? And so your relationships is a very high core value. And at some point, a computer isn't going to do it. And I think the more people that have strong relationships and good interpersonal skills are the people who are going to thrive, because everybody else can go to a screen and try to figure out stuff. But there is something about empathy and stepping into somebody's like, hey, talk to me through this here. And that human interaction that AI will never be able to take place. Maybe I'm talking out of my ear. Maybe it will. I don't know. But I do feel like for me.
No, I agree. Well, yeah, that's definitely how I see it as well for our industry. I would imagine in that top 5 industry list, marketing was on it. I'm just guessing. It probably was. Yeah. Probably. You saw yours and you were like, let's discuss this.
Well, let's just talk about I do feel like let's just, whatever industry the listener is in right now, let's just pretend like it's top 5. And how are you going to use it? Does that make sense? That's not a bad exercise to go through. All right, are we going to embrace this and then adapt? Or are we going to fold under the pressure? Welcome to entrepreneurship. Okay. So let's talk.
Can I say something? Can I say something about that?
This is your podcast.
Okay. So, well, I'm going to say this because I hope it helps somebody who is listening. Because I think sometimes when you get interviewed on a podcast, you come across like you have it all figured out. And no, I don't. And I rely on podcasts to learn things or just kind of become aware of something that might help me. And so the first probably, year to year and a half that AI really started to become heavily influencing the marketing industry, I was mad. And I dug my heels in, and you're kind of feeling like you're playing defense. And then it clicked with me one day that I was like, wait, the whole reason I started this business was because there were all of these like enterprise level tools available and enterprise teams available to that level of business. And now WordPress and HubSpot and all of these like small business friendly tools emerged. And I was like, I'm going to help companies use those. And then it clicked with me, like, that's exactly what AI is right now. It's just another opportunity to figure out, how do I help a small business owner understand how to use this? Right.
Yeah.
And so don't be scared of it. I was like excited. That flipped a switch in my brain and in my mindset where I was like, this is actually really fun, right? This is exciting. This isn't something to be scared of.
Right. I do think that's one of the superpowers entrepreneurs have, is different perspective. Hey, there's sometimes where we look at something, we're like, oh my goodness. And then we look at it a different perspective, like, but wait a second, we got a shot here. Like, this actually could be really cool, but we have to take that initiative and look at it a different perspective. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that see something and then they keep reinforcing their negative perspective. And like, that is a recipe for disaster. You're going to be in a fetal position in the corner, suck on your thumb soon, So you got two choices here. You can make the decision. I love it. Dude, Terri, you're great. All right. Let's talk through this, because I've been kind of on this kind of train for a while, but I feel like I've been married 18 years yesterday. So I've been reflecting on.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Thanks. And she's amazing. And one thing I feel like God used for me is like marriage to refine me. Like before this, I'm like, wait, what? Like once I got married, like, wait, I'm not perfect. Like what's happening here? But that's what I think the Lord does, at least for me in marriage. And I think that's why a lot of people like really struggle at. They're like really looking for their marriage to make them happy and not holy. But when you start thinking about maybe, God's put this person in my life to kind of show me some of my rough edges and kind of soften me out. So that's the first thing. The second thing is kids. Is you start looking at your kids and you're like, oh, there's some issues here that's like, are me, like, that's not going to serve you well. Like, please stop doing that, and then you can start kind of reflecting your own thing. But the third thing, and there's probably other different things, but running a business is freaking humbling. And like, I feel like he's used that in me to refine me. So those three things, like, I feel like there's like a filter, like I'm a better person because those three things, although it's run me through the gamut and I feel like it's hurt. But I wouldn't have changed it in any other way. Especially, I think my favorite Bible verse is, James chapter 1, verse 2, consider it all joy when you hit trials. And like, joy for trials, because it produces endurance and character. And like, for me specifically, like, I don't learn unless I, hit a wall and it hurts. Like, oh, that didn't feel great, but I need to learn. What do I need to learn? So God's so gracious with me. So let's talk about that. So you are now in the throes of it. You have those three things basically at the same time, by the way. You have a marriage, you've got kids, and now a business. So how in the world did you stay married, have a thriving family, and a business all in like one fell swoop? Help. I mean, for sure, that was God's plan, because I think that probably me more than Ralph I made so many wrong choices or wrong decisions and wrong steps that God was just very gracious to me through them. And like, if you spend time studying different people, especially from the Old Testament, you just watch them do wrong after wrong after wrong, right? And whatever God had in mind for them, it still happens. It did.
And that's very relatable for me.
Encouraging for me too.
Yeah. It's like, wow. And I think if I had to reflect, as I've gotten older, I'm like, I need to start recognizing quicker when that's happening, because I'm not going to stop making wrong choices. Like, I'm human. And the more closer relationship I can be in conversation with God, hopefully the quicker I can recognize or hear what he has in store for me, so that I'm making fewer of those wrong choices or recovering from them quicker. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Ralph quick, because he seems like a rock star. Tell me where you think you'd be without old Ralph. I love this part of the show.
I'd probably be living with my mom and dad in Wisconsin right now. I don't know.
Yeah. Or like think about marketing refresh. Like where would that be?
Yeah.
Like some people think like there's only one thing. Like if somebody's coming to me for advice and they're like, hey, we want to do this business thing. My first reaction and question is, what's your spouse think? It's like they're going to be going through this with you. Make it be known. There's no silent partners in a marriage, and especially when you're running a business, because they are in it, ups and downs, ins and outs, the biggest cheerleader and like your biggest fan. And without them, like it just doesn't work. So kudos, Ralph. Good job, man.
Yeah. Ralph is very supportive. And I would say just our personalities are exact opposites of each other. Ralph is very quiet, very, like steady, very conservative, very loyal. Right. And so all of those things, without that complementing and kind of working in conjunction with me, I would be in a very different place. I'm certain, right? He's definitely the person I need in my marriage. But like he's just always been so steady, and he's never discouraged me from any crazy idea I've had. He's always very encouraging and supportive. But I think because of who he is, I try to always, like, as I've gotten older, I've tried to step back more and be like, well, how is this impacting Ralph, and how do I need to manage this? So it's still me, but it's working more in harmony with Ralph.
Yeah. How do you guys blend your finances when you first got married? Like, was that tough?
Yeah, it was really tough. We had a lot of interesting wrinkles, and I think, so we just moved from Texas to Colorado 4 years ago. And it's really funny because one of our kids was asking a question about transferring us money for something, and where should I transfer it? And I was like, this is so embarrassing, but we still have not combined our bank accounts. And it wasn't because we didn't want to, but we were both like, oh my God, this is going to be such a pain.
Dude. Changing banks is like, has to be the fifth, like, scariest thing to do.
So we finally did it when we moved here. We like ripped off a huge Band-Aid with all kinds of sores that had grown around it. So we always knew what was going on, but we just never had combined it, and what a difference that made. And then both of us were like, why didn't we do that so much sooner? It's a lot of work and pain, but so much
fruit,
easier to work together when you have it all together. Yeah.
That's good. Okay. So when you guys think about the future for you and Ralph, marketing refresh, like what do you get excited about? Let's say that.
I would say two things get me the most excited these days. One of them is my grandson, and we have another one being born in May. And just kind of like thinking, so something that's really important to me is how am I going to influence their faith, right? So how am I praying for them, but how am I also going to be like influencing their prayer life and their relationship with God? And then second is, like just thinking about how the decisions I make now create different opportunities for our employees. And, I don't know if I would have been able to say that like 5 years ago. I think I was still pretty selfish about my business. And now I really like work hard to not think about it as my business. It's really our business. Yeah. Cause if you're not creating those opportunities and thinking about how you're supporting from the bottom up with your employees, every part of your business will suffer.
Well, yeah, you're just missing an opportunity, right? Like, you can make it all about you. You sure can. And yet I feel like there's opportunities of impact that you're missing every day. That's good.
Exactly. And if you can really embody that fruit of the Spirit and just live that way, it's incredible how that can really influence people around you and spread that love that God is sharing with us unconditionally.
Right.
So those are the things that are important to me.
That's good. And it's biblical. And we try to teach the kids this, and everyone at Christmas gets it. It's like, it's way better to give than get. Oh, wait, it's better to give than get. And I feel like that's a tough concept when you're younger. You're like, no way. But then you get older and you're like, wow, that is truth. Like, instead of trying to amass all this wealth, what if I try to go impact other people to try to see how I can just further and serve other people and see the joy that it changes inside of you? When I feel like culture today is like, no, try to find your inner happiness, and instead of like, no, go serve other people. Get out of your own way for a second. Like, you're not the center of the world. So good. Terri, you are uncommon. I'm glad you're on the show. I love it. Okay, so any final thoughts that you have for our listeners, as maybe they might be on the sidelines, they haven't jumped off and they don't have their business, or maybe they're working for somebody else, or they have this idea, or maybe they're just trying to blend a family. Like, how would you kind of like try to land the plane on all your thoughts? Because you've had a lot of like perfect like antidotes for this whole episode. Great job.
Well, good. I think something I wish I had done differently is trying to talk to someone who has gone through what you're planning to do. And so if it's marriage, talk to other married people, ask them what they love about it, what they don't love about it. Of course, as a Christian, I think the more you can talk to somebody who shares your Christian values, the better. Yeah. Because the advice or thoughts that you're getting are coming from the same value system. And same with business. If you're looking at starting a business, try to talk to as many business owners as you can and pick their brain.
That's good.
Yeah. And I wish I had done that. And I would love to make myself available to anybody that's interested in doing that, because I think it doesn't mean you have to do everything that person is telling you, but it gives you a lot to take into consideration. That would help.
That's good. That's good. Okay. How do our listeners reach out, hear more about you or Marketing Refresh?
Yeah, so I am on LinkedIn. If you search for Terri Hoffman at Marketing Refresh, you'll find me. Terri, Terri, at marketingrefresh.com is my email address. And then within what I just said is our website address, and you can find us there. So those are the best ways to look for us. Yep.
That's good. Or you can reach out to Uncommon Wealth. We'll get you in touch. Thank you so much, Terri, for your wisdom and just your vulnerability, just to kind of be transparent on where you're at, where God has you, and where you're going. I'm a huge fan. So anything I can do to help, continue just to reach out. Let's be in touch to see how things change and how your business advances. I'm excited. And being more of a grandma, like grandparent, that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It is. It's so awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Phillip. I appreciate you sharing and listening.
Absolutely. Yeah. You've been listening to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. Until next time, go help people and see the joy inside of you grow. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
That's all for this episode, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.